Good evening, all. It's Friday, the 19th of March. It's nearly 5 o'clock. Ordinarily, I get this video done during the course of the day, but it's been one of those days, one of those weeks actually, where I've had no time at all until now, and I'm absolutely shattered. I've got to be honest. So if I do nod off, or I'm even less articulate and coherent than normal, I apologise profusely. Please forgive me. But a few end of week reflections as always. I suppose. Yeah, I'm not going to spend hours tonight, of course, but it is a year, or this corresponding Friday last year, of course, when the school closed for the first time. And what a 12 months it's been. And if I started reflecting on things during that time and perhaps some learning points, we'll be here all night. And I'm boring enough as it is without doing that. So hey ho, I'll leave that for now. But yeah, a year, who'd have thought we'd still be in this situation a year on. Okay, but it's been a great week. Oh, you had a good week, as we have. Probably why I'm so tired. It's been tiring, but very fulfilling, I have to say. But delighted and relieved, finally, to have finished our in-school testing yesterday. And obviously all that testing of certain people back in January, but in the last 2 weeks alone, less than 2 weeks, we've tested or done around about 4,000 tests. Most of our pupils 3 times in that space of time, which I think you'd agree was a remarkable feat and testament to the work of a whole number of people who I mentioned before in school, and indeed our parent volunteers. So once again, a huge thank you to you all for the part you played and gave us that sort of, I suppose, layer of reassurance when the pupils came back. Unfortunately, we had 2 positive cases, which led to a small number of isolations in year 8 and year 10. And I hope those young people concerned are doing well at home, and we look forward to having you back with us next week, I think it is, or beginning of the week after. Okay, so yeah, that's in-school testing finished. And I hope you'll engage with the home testing. All pupils are taking home testing kit now, and the same process really as you were following in school. Obviously, you are asked to record the results. I know it's a faff. The NHS sort of reporting system and our own, we're expected to keep details ourselves. Seems a bit daft, doesn't it? Submitting details twice, but it's a quick process on both accounts. So please, if you could engage with that, would be really helpful. Okay, as we move towards the summer. But a great week, and it's the first week, of course, we had everybody back. Last week, a staggered return with the testing, a bit of to and fro in, and people were chasing the tail all week, not knowing what day it was and where they should be, etc., etc. But we got through it, and this week has been a more normal week and returned to what it was when we finished before Christmas. And the young people have been fantastic. We knew they would be. They are resolute, they're resilient, they're just full of fun and joy. And it's been a great week for all concerned. So tiring, but it's good to have you all back, guys. So a big pat on the back to all the young people at home and to you mums and dads for helping us in that process, because it has been absolutely fantastic week, and feel like getting our school back again, I suppose, really, as we head towards Easter. And all being well, keep things sort of reasonably tight. We can think about how we may review our measures and a degree of relaxation post-Easter. Who knows? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, before I forget, I made a note here. Oliver Higgins in year 10, Miss Crump's tutor group. He was mentioned in the wider bulletin last week on the email and the website for his fundraising efforts. I forgot to mention him myself, and I think Oliver's multiple 10,000 steps requires acknowledgement and mention here, and the money he's raised for cancer research. So well done, Oliver, doing your bit, as many of our students do, but worth mentioning. And lots of other successes this week as well, and just some examples there. Miss Spencer in English has been running the Wellington Poet Laureate scheme. Lots of superb entries. I mean, I read them all, and it was a voting process. All absolutely fabulous. The quality was, just remarkable, as I say, and it was a joy to read them all, and many appealed on various levels. But 3 winners were chosen. And we have, as Melissa, Abigail Park for Key Stage 3, Noah Gower Jones for Key Stage 4, and Hannah Awan for Key Stage 5. So well done to you 3, but well done to everybody who submitted entry, and you will see that superb works of poetry being released in due course. But what a reflection of the literary talent on show and offer at Wellington. So well done to all of you, well done to Miss Spencer for what is a new initiative at school, and one that will obviously develop as we move forward. That was a real joy this week reading those. It's a great job I've got, isn't it? There's so many little privileges and perks to this, and being, I suppose, inspired by young people every day is one of the many, if not the biggest perk of the job. We I gained the pleasure of awarding some ambassador badges. You'll know, no doubt, that you got your bronze, silver and gold, and when you surpass that level, a few get the ambassador's badge. We have 2 already, Harvey Hannon and Wesley Wilson so far, and then this week Jess Hill in year 9, Emily Bushnell in year 8 and Leighton O'Brien in year 7. I had the honour of giving out the badges to those 3 yesterday, and I have to say, responsible for all 3 were particularly Leighton, who literally leapt with joy across the yard afterwards and was sort of fist pumping his mates with just an absolute joy, I have to say. So well done, guys. It does mean something. An absolute credit to you for achieving that accolade, and there'll be many more, no doubt, to follow. And so early in the year as well, last year, I think it was the summer term before we ordered ambassadors badges. But what a credit you are, young people, to the school and to your families and to yourselves. I know Mr. Tomlinson as well has been very busy dishing out the bronze, silver and gold badges, so well done to you guys as well. You're moving up that sort of that ladder towards other achievements. But I cannot speak highly enough of the staff for awarding these points, but the young people and the reflection of the work they have done in the most challenging of circumstances before Christmas, when they first returned, in the 6 weeks of lockdown, 8 weeks of lockdown from January to March, and then their return over the last couple of weeks. They do amaze me every single day, and you as parents should be very proud of our youngsters. Okay, so yeah, there's a few things that give me great pleasure this week. But it's been a week of conversations as well, whether it be governors, colleagues in school, colleagues outside of school, the head teachers, other agencies, and looking more to the future and recovery phase and building ourselves out of these pandemic times. Just an informal, light-hearted one as well. I'm on duty outside the boys' toilets for year 11s. Nice to touch base with those guys. And some young men that, should we say, perhaps I've had a different sort of conversation in the past. Not always the most positive reasons, but they've come back seemingly with a very positive attitude, their focus, they know what these assessments mean in the last few months, and the fact they've got less than 3 months with us to go now. They want to prove themselves, and they have aspirations, ambitions moving forward. So some great conversations. So thank you to you 11 guys I've been chatting to on the yard at the back there as they've come along each day, but that gives me sort of great hope moving forward. But also on perhaps a more profound level, without going into too much detail, I mentioned the last 12 months, there's been a few seminal moments, of course, haven't there, during that period, and one of which was the tragic death and murder of George Floyd last year, and what that led to globally. But also we were already on that journey towards anti-racism with plans afoot, and that perhaps gave us greater focus in how we may move that forward. Of course, that's been interrupted to a degree by other lockdowns and disruptions, but we know firmly where we want to go with that, and things are primed for the months ahead. But also, perhaps in a similar vein, again, the tragedy last week, the murder of Sarah Everard, but also I suppose the polemic around the Meghan Markle interview and the response to the vigil to Sarah Everard's death at the weekend, and brought into sharp focus those discussions around the treatment of women and girls. And as always, as a school, we have a responsibility there, don't we? And so the parallels with the anti-racism sort of campaign as well. And again, tonight's not the night to go into too much detail, to share some thoughts with you, as I do on a Friday. But we've been approached this week by young people, male and female, about what we could possibly do to have those wider conversations And of course, it starts in school, doesn't it, with education, how we use language and how we act towards other people. How do other people feel? Do we have that sense of empathy? And so the anti-racism agenda, and now an anti-misogyny type agenda as well, are certainly conversations we need to have in school and part of our wider responsibility as educators. So I've had those conversations with my daughters and my son this week, and I'm sure you are at home, but fingers crossed that hopefully some good can come out of some tragedy, not for the first time in the last 12 months. So I'll leave it there for now, but I'm sure you have your own thoughts on that and what we can do, and we'll be... I've already got some meetings lined up with some of our students next week to have a further conversation around both those matters, really. Okay, I mentioned before assessments in the summer. We have some information which we've shared with you, more's coming out in the coming weeks. But yesterday, at the moment, there's my association, the Association of School and College Leaders, has got a virtual conference. And yesterday, a guy called Ian Borkham, an executive head teacher, but also at the moment chair of Ofqual, the exams regulator. He did an excellent speech yesterday, which I'm going to ask Miss Roberts to share with you as well. It's quite a long one. The transcript is there to read. You might be able to find the video online as well. But it talks about some of the general parameters and thinking around assessments this summer, and certainly confirms and supports our guiding principles of how that may work. So if you are the parent of a year 11 or year 13 student, or student yourself, I do suggest you have a glance at that. It's a quick 10-minute read over the weekend, no doubt. Okay, good. I'm going on a bit now, as I do. I'm probably boring the life out of you, but there's lots in my head. I said I'm tired, and it's probably just waffle now. But have a look at that. Great weekend lined up. Yeah, you know I like my sport, but England are going to beat Ireland, no doubt, in the rugby. France are going to batter Wales in the rugby. United are going to beat Leicester on Sunday in the FA Cup, no doubt. The final of The Voice. Some nice wine lined up and a takeaway. So all's good in the world. And we're moving towards easing off of measures. We're easing towards the summer. So life is good. We can't complain, can we? Next week as well, more extracurricular sport kicking off. I've got my year 7s and the year 8s out for a bit of rugby. There are all other sports as well, I know, exist in school, but I mentioned the one I'm involved in more. Other things as well, other extracurricular activities starting to kick in, and some degree of normality as we move towards, as I say, the summer term. Okay, it's only 12 minutes. You've probably all switched off already or got stuck into your takeaways or something else, but have a great weekend. Stay safe. As I keep saying, you know where we are. If you need a conversation, pick up the phone. Let's have a chat. And let's keep making this the best possible place it can be for our young people. Okay, take care. Have a great weekend. And hopefully speak to you next week. Bye-bye.